Hello, dear students. I hope you are well and doing good. So, in our previous lecture, we talked about communication. We came to know the meaning of communication and the etymology of the word communication. After that, we moved on to understand the communication process. There, we saw that communication process deals with four essential steps there is a sender. The sender has an idea to deliver, then that sender encodes that idea into some tangible form, then that form becomes a message. That was step 2. At step 3, the message is sent via some channel, some media, towards the receiver, and at step 4, the person who receives the message is the receiver. So that person receives the message and the person tries to understand the message. That was the step 4 of communication. So these four steps were considered are considered rather they are the essential steps of communication. After that, we moved on to the additional two steps, step 5 and step 6. So step 5 is basically uh, it is something which moves from the receiver towards the sender. So that is the feedback. In this feedback, the receiver may ask questions to clarify his understanding of the message, or even that person may send feedback or anything that is needed to be delivered back to the sender. And the step 6 was actually the repetition of the earlier 5 steps, step 1 to 5. This is the repetition of these 5 steps. So this way communication works, and it is all about the communication process. So in today's video, we have a look at the major types of communication. Okay, so traditionally communication is divided into two forms, or there are two major types of communication. They are called verbal and non-verbal communication. See, in these two headings there is a common word, verbal. The very first type is verbal communication, second is non-verbal communication. So first have a look at what the word verbal means. So uh, the etymology of the word verbal says it is a Latin origin word. In Latin there is a word verbum which means word. Okay, so this word verbum, which means word in Latin, is uh, used nowadays in English, and likewise there is another word in Latin that is again similar to the word verbal in English, so that is verbalis. And this again in Latin is a word, and it means something that consists words. So keeping we keeping in mind and considering this very etymological connection of the word and its meaning in Latin language, we can define the both types of communication, verbal and non-verbal communication. So any communication that uses words, that is done through the use of words, that is a verbal communication. So the second type is very opposite of this type, which is non-verbal communication. There is a prefix non which says na, without. Okay, so communication which is done without using words is non-verbal communication. Well, in verbal communication, if we talk about verbal communication, there are two subtypes in verbal communication. They are written communication and oral communication. So there is a misconception nowadays that people consider verbal communication for oral communication, which is not true basically. So when we intend to say some spoken word, we have to say oral communication. Okay, and when we want to say some communication that is done through written, then we have to say written, not oral or not verbal, because verbal communication includes the both written and oral communication. So we cannot mix both of them. When you want to say something, some communication is occurring uh, through the word of mouth, through spoken words, so then you have to say oral communication instead of saying verbal communication. Okay, moving on to the next slide, let's uh, talk about these two definitions, two types of subtypes of verbal communications one by one. The very first one is written communication. As I told you, it is a formal communication. Written communication is uh, used as a major tool in business communication, in official settings, and in businesses. So written communication is preferred because there are many advantages of this type of communication, which we are going to talk about in a few moments. So a formal communication is usually in written form. So we can support our written communication with the help of other uh, uh, tools or other aspects, for example using diagrams, the non-verbal aspect, and pictures, in order to make our communication more effective and useful. So written communication may be in different forms. There are many forms, in hard form, in soft form. There are many forms of written communication. For example, emails are written communication, CVs are written communication, newspapers, books. Okay, likewise there are newsletters, press releases. All this stuff comes in written communication. Even the electronic messages that have written words included in it, they are also written communication. For example, if I send you a message in WhatsApp group, that is a written communication. If I send an email to somebody, that is an example of written communication, because all these forms have one common thread, that is they use words written words. Okay, so it is not necessary for written communication to be on a page or a printed page. So this might be an electronic form also. Electronic means emails and different apps that are available nowadays, so they include written communication in it. Now move on to some advantages of this type of communication. So in written communication, it gives us a lot of advantages also. So whenever we want to give uh, some message in written form to a variety of audiences, more than two people, if we intend to give them the very exact same copy of the message, we should prefer giving them an uh, in written form. Okay, for example, see, uniformity is ensured in written communication because uh, if you talk to people one by one, your vocabulary may change, your style, your tone, your inclination towards different receivers may change, so that might affect the uniformity of the message. But in written communication, that thing is diminished, that is removed. So here, if you send an email to more than 10 people, okay, or 1000 people, you send the very same copy to all of them, and all of the receivers receive the very same copy. There is no not even least change. For example, there is not a single uh, difference in punctuation mark. Each and everything is in uniform manner. So here, written communication ensures uniformity in the message. Everyone concerned has the same information. There is no difference in the copy of the message delivered. So likewise, in the other important aspect or advantage of this type of communication is it provides a permanent record for future reference. Okay, so references are very important. Record of communication is very important. If we look at different records in businesses, for example banks, okay, different companies maintain communication records properly. Likewise, if we look at our university departments, so they also have different sections for maintaining record keeping sections are there. So why they are doing this? Because they want to maintain a record of the communication, and that is done through written communication. For example, at some point in future, if any discrepancy is found, or if any conflict arises, or if any misinformation is separate, so then we can have a look at the communication record, and we can remove those discrepancies, and we can resolve all the issues or the conflicts arise thereby. Okay, the other important aspect of written communication is that in written communication we as a sender have a lot of time, plenty of time to think before delivery, before delivering the message. Okay, we compose our message taking sufficient time. We think time and again, we compose the bestest and the best form. We work in drafts, and we produce draft 1, and then draft 2, then 3, then 4, and unless or until we are satisfied the very draft, the final draft, we are improving the drafts one by one. So at the end, then we send the very utmost and the very best form of the draft towards the receiver. So in this way, we have a plenty of time to think before sending the message. We improve that message in written communication. This freedom is ensured in written communication. And the other important advantage of written communication is it can be quoted as a legal evidence in case of any disputes. It may be a legal evidence. So uh, this point may overlap with the second point which I discussed, where I said it provides some future reference. So legal evidence is somehow more serious and some grave issue. It is very important, keeping in mind the penalties if we fail the case, or if our opponent is strong enough, or they provide or they produce some solid written evidence in the court. So written communication in written communication we have the written communication as a proof to provide in the uh, court as a legal evidence. So this way we can see that written communication is good for official settings, for business like communication, or in academic settings. So business communication, academic communication, or communication that occurs at different formal settings, they must be done through some written form, so that we could have a good copy of it for future references or as a legal evidence, or we can produce our best form, we can present our best form in uh, written communication. Then move on to some disadvantages of written communication. Yes, of course, everything has its dark aspect also. So written communication has some weaknesses also in it. Okay, the very first point is it is time consuming. If we compare it with oral communication, written communication is very time consuming. We have to spend a lot of time. First, we have to uh, manage and maintain the tools that are required to write, okay, jotting down. We need pages, we need pens. Then we have if we are considering electronic gadgets, so we need laptops, mobile phones, different applications. So we have to struggle to even start the written communication, and it is time consuming. The second point is second weakness or disadvantage of written communication is it becomes difficult to maintain secrecy about written communication. Okay, so in written communication, when it is done, we have to dedicate specific area to maintain and keep the record there. And if those communications are secret, so then it becomes a challenge to maintain the secrecy. We have to spend a lot of stuff, we have to struggle, we have to have human resources to guard the record. Okay. If we consider a good example here, uh, just recently we came across with the Epstein files. See, all the material, all the record of the Epstein email is now public. Okay, so it was difficult to maintain the secrecy, and everything is public now. All the communication that was done through emails are now public property. Anyone can go through all those emails. So if they talked, or if they hate face-to-face conversations without any permanent record, there would be no chance of such leakage of information or communication proof. But all those stuff is, as you know, occurred in written form, so that is now uh, out for public. So it became a difficult task to maintain that secrecy. Likewise, the very weakness or disadvantage that I like, that I consider the most with written communication is that it may be interpreted in a different manner by different people. Uh, Although uniformity is ensured in written communication. For example, I sent the same copy to 1000 people, but the problem here is that all the 1000 people read that message, interpret that message as per their level, as per their capacity. So there might be different interpretations, different meanings may arise from for different readers. For example, here I give a good example from history. So see, we Muslims have just one holy book, okay, the Quran. So the message is exact, the same message. All the sects have this very copy of the holy book. There is no change, not even a zabar or zir difference in their copies. So uniformity, although the uniformity is ensured, all the copies are the same, but still there is a difference, there is a variation in the interpretation of this very same message. Okay, that is the biggest issue with written communication, because different receivers interpret the message in their freedom, in their capacity. So different meanings may arise. So this way we can see that even a single message, the Quran, is interpreted in different ways, and different sects appear in just one religion, Islam. So this is the biggest weakness that I consider the most in written communication. So that's it for today's lecture. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask those questions in the comment section, or in the WhatsApp group, or you can email me. Okay, so in the next lecture we will talk about oral communication, its types, and uh, advantages of oral communication and disadvantages of oral communication. Thank you.